Hey, welcome to this review of the Grundig S450 DLX portable AM, FM, shortwave receiver, or what they call field radio. This is a follow-up. Lots of you have the S450 DL, and Grundig came out with the S450 DLX. And lots of really big differences between both the S350 and S450. And look at a video. I'm going to make another video comparing both radios. Today we're going to just focus on the review of this receiver. So I've been using it pretty much intensively for 24 hours, scanning the FM, scanning medium wave, short wave. First of all, I'm really impressed by this radio. It's a $99 radio on average. I've seen it anywhere from $85 to $100, depending on where you'll buy it. It's available at the Source Canada, the Source by Circuit City for $99. I've seen it in Radio Shack stores in the US for $99, I believe, also. Also available in major stores like the Universal Radio. I believe here Radio World in Canada has it also in stock. So lots of places where you can buy this radio. And what's cool about it is through the Radio Shack and the Store by Circuit City stores, it's available to almost anyone in any city. So this is a digital PLL synthesized radio. So it means that everything is digital in its tuning. It supports many interesting features. If we first take a look at the radio itself, nice big display here. Really cool display. Turn it on. Really nice display, well illuminated. What's even cool is that you can actually leave the light on, and actually the buttons become illuminated also. It's hard to see here, but probably you can see it a little bit if I put my hand. So at night you not only see the display, but you also see the different little buttons here that you need to tune, which is pretty cool, so you can operate it in the dark basically. What do the buttons in the front do? Well, first you got your power button, which is cool because instead of they changed it. On the S350 DL, you had to hold it for a few seconds to really turn on the radio. If you just did a little quick press, it was the sleep function. They've reversed that, which is much more logical in my sense. Now a quick press turns on the radio, a quick press turns off, and you hold it to put the sleep function. You've got below it a lock function, a lock button in case you want to travel with the radio and don't want the radio to turn on by itself without you knowing it, especially on the batteries. You've got the series of little buttons here. You've got your timer A and B, so this radio can turn on at different times, and you got two timers so you can make it work at two different let it turn on at two different times, which is pretty cool. You've got the alarm function, so you can wake up with the radio. You've got the quick tune button. It's important to know that this button exists because basically shortwave is divided into 3 bands, and you don't have a numeric keypad. So if I'm going from 17734, I want to go to 15,000 and hear WWV, you basically got to tune and tune and tune and tune and tune and tune. So they put a quick tune button that lets you go through the bands quickly so that you can go through all the international broadcast bands. So here you hear WWV actually coming in well.
16 hours, 18 minutes, coordinated universal time.
And I can show you that the antenna is actually not at all, it just has this little part and it's already receiving WWV. So it gives you an idea of what I mean. This radio is exceptional for the price. What else you have? You have your memories here. You got the preset and the T-set, which is time set, but also the memory recording feature. You've got 50 memories divided 10 per band. What that means is that you got 10 for FM, 10 for AM, medium wave. And the shortwave spectrum is divided into 3 bands, and you've got 10 memories on each band. So it's 30 memories total for shortwave, which is not too bad compared to today's radios that often have hundreds. It's not a lot, but it's okay. At least you have some. And I'll tell you a little feature here. I personally use my memories to actually quick tune my radio, because there's a quick tune here, but I've actually used the memories, the presets, to actually go faster. So with the quick tune plus the presets, I even tune even faster inside the shortwave bands. You've got your up and down buttons, and the radio can scan. So if you hold, for example, the button, it starts scanning and searching for signals. The scan function works okay. Like all receivers that I've seen, it's not the best around. And one word to notice, it scans only through the international broadcast bands. So if you're out of band and you press and hold the up or down, you'll actually jump to an international broadcast band. So keep in mind, it only scans through all the international broadcast bands that are pre-programmed in it. You've got here the stop, slow, and fast buttons. Stop means that you basically lock the dial here, the button, to change. So it's cool if you're afraid that you might actually bump into it and change the frequency. You can actually block it. You also have the slow, which is 1 kilohertz increments when you tune, and the fast, which is 5 kilohertz increments. On FM, slow is at 0.1 megahertz, which is 100 kilohertz, and at fast, it's at slow is at 0.01, sorry, which is 10 kilohertz, and fast is at 0.1, which is 100 kilohertz tuning steps. You've got your volume control here. You've got an RF gain button here. You've got your bass and treble, which is very nice because this speaker has very, very beautiful audio. I'll talk about a little more about that later. You've got your carrying handle here that actually has a Velcro, so it becomes a carrying strap that you can actually put on your shoulder if you want to bring this radio along with you. Very nice telescopic antenna, very sturdy, very pretty long. It's quite good, and actually I've not felt the desire to really put an outdoor antenna on this radio, because just with the telescopic antenna works really, really well. On the right side, you've got your antenna, DX or local. So if you have strong signals or you're listening to really strong local signals, you can put the switch to local. You've got your antenna selector. So internal is the antenna on the top here, or the internal ferrite rod if you're on medium wave. And external means that it's using the connectors at the back for external antennas. I'm coming to that soon. And here you've got the key lights. So basically the lights are kind of divided in two. When you turn on the lights on this receiver with the button on the top, your keys can be either on, or you can click and they're off, and only this display. Probably the feature that's useful about that is the fact that it will save on battery life. What you've got here is a line out, so if you want to record what you're listening to, pretty cool. The line in is quite fun. If you have an iPod, an MP3 player, and you want to hear that player in the radio itself and use the big speaker here, you just plug it into the line-in of this radio, and you'll actually hear what's on your iPod or MP3 player or whatever device you plug in there. It's a nice little added feature here. Sometimes, you know, you don't want to listen to what's on the radio. You might want to listen to your iPod, for example. So you can plug it there. Earphone jack brings FM stereo through the earphones, and this is an incredible radio for that. If you've got a good pair of earphones, I can tell you one thing. Listening to FM stereo, the music is just incredible. This is probably one of the best radios I've ever had that's multiband, and that has such a beautiful sound through the earphones. So buy yourself a good quality earphone. It's really worth it. And anyways, if you want to try and do a little more DX listening, have a good quality earphone is always a good thing, because you can take out, you know, from the noise some of the really faint signals when you have good earphones plugged into your radios. In the back, you've got, of course, the battery tray here, which has the two little hinges. This radio takes 6 D cells. So keep in mind that if you fill it up with 6 D cells, this radio becomes really heavy. And I mean heavy. So I'm not sure that bringing this radio on trips is that interesting if you have to walk a long distance with the radio, especially with the 6D batteries inside. I've not tried really with the batteries yet. When I went to the local little store here at the corner, they actually didn't have D cells. They were out of stock, so couldn't buy them. But what I've seen on the internet, a lot of people saying that you get a pretty long battery life with the D batteries, so seems to be good on that. You've got your antenna connector, so you can put your wire antennas and ground here. You've got this F connector, which is the same as your cable company, for example. This is the external antenna plug. If you plug something here, you put the external switch to external, you basically listen to FM, medium wave, and shortwave through your external antenna. So if you plug it in here, it's on all bands, not just one. Often you have radios that, you know, when you plug in an antenna, is only shortwave or only FM or whatever. This one, all the bands, even medium wave. So if you have a really good loop antenna, this radio might be really, really worth it with a good external loop antenna plugged into that socket. One nice feature here that they just don't talk too much about, but it's available, and for most people you just don't know what to do with it, but this is actually interesting to have. They actually put an IF out. So that means that you've got here the signal directly from the intermediate frequency of 455 kilohertz in the radio. Why is that useful? If you want to decode the digital radio mondial, the DRM signals, this radio gives you a good advantage. With this socket, the proper electronic circuit, and a computer, you can use this radio for DRM listening. So it's really nice. It's, I must say, a little more for the tech-savvy listener, but for someone like me that actually I've never listened to a DRM, and now this radio kind of makes me interested in actually either purchasing or building myself the little circuit to listen to DRM signals. On the left side of the radio, all you have is the power socket here at the bottom. So I've plugged in the power. The radio comes with this adapter, which is a 9 volts power adapter. So it's pretty cool. If you don't have the batteries, you can use the radio right away, because you've got basically the batteries, the power adapter is included, so you can use it right away. One of the bad things about the power adapter, like all the radios that, most of these radios that use these little wall wart power adapter, is the fact that it picks up all the noise from the local, you know, from your electrical system. So if you've got lots of electronic gadgets plugged in your home, just keep in mind that this thing is gonna really make a lot of noise. And that's why I wanted batteries, because batteries, actually, I always run my radios, portable radios, on batteries. It gets much lower noise. In the display itself, we look at the display. We've got the battery indicator, so you know the level of your batteries. You know the band you are on, so it's a shortwave 3, 2, 1, and of course if you go into FM it's going to tell you, and medium wave or AM. You've got your level indicator here, gives you the power level of the stations. It's somewhat accurate. I wouldn't too much refer to it though, but it's okay. At least you've got some kind of indication that you have a power indicator at least. And of course you'll have the fast or slow. When the radio is turned off, you've got your time displayed. Would have been a nice feature though to have frequency, because display is quite big. Would have been nice, you know, to have maybe a little clock here on the top right left. Would have been fun, but hey, it's one of those things. Not many radios actually have that capability, but it's always fun to have time available as the same time as you're tuning around, because on shortwave you can, you know, get those schedules. Okay, on the top you've got two little buttons here. You've got a big snooze button here, so when you actually press this button, if you you know, use it as an alarm clock, what's cool is that you've got the snooze right here, which is pretty cool. And right here you've got the light button. One quick press brings the light on for a few seconds. You hold and press, keeps the display on all the time. One quirk about that is the fact that if you tune your radio to some other frequency, it actually deactivates the function that you've asked for the light to be on all the time. That's kind of weird. First time I see a radio that actually acts like that. So if you've put the display on to stay on, if you've tuned your radio, and actually it's gonna turn off after a few seconds, you'll have to press and hold again. So that's a little awkward thing. One thing that you might notice, and I'll do it again because you might hear it, is every time you press the light button, you have that little click in the speaker. I don't know why actually it does that, but that's another little annoyance I would say about this radio. If it ever freezes up, they give you a little reset hole right here in the bottom. This reset hole, just, you know, put a little pin inside to reset the radio. So if it ever freezes up, the processor freezes up, you can use that. What other quirk I find is the fact that there's no keypad, so you can't really program your frequency directly on a keypad. That's a little quirk. But the quick tune button and using properly the memory presets will actually help you a lot in tuning around your radio instead of always tuning on. Radio feels really good quality. I mean, the feel of it when I took it out of the box is more quality than the S450, for example. It's slightly bigger than S450, so if you find that the S450 is a little too big, don't buy this one because it's slightly bigger. It's about as large and about as thick, but it's slightly higher. And it's already a little heavy, I would say. So if you put in 6D cells, you're really having a very heavy radio. So I'm not sure this is a good radio to bring along if you have a long distance to walk with the radio before going to wherever you're going, maybe a D expedition or whatever. But apart from that, the use of D cells is interesting because D cells give so much power that this radio will probably work for weeks on D cells, which is pretty nice. It would have been nice to have that same little feature as the S450. Anyone that has a S450 knows that you can put C cells, I believe, in the S450, but below it they've put a little door and you can actually put AA batteries if you don't have C cells. That's really nice, and I find it interesting. And they should have done the same here. It would have been nice to have the 6 AA batteries possibility. Just because I went to the corner store to buy the batteries, that they didn't have it. So they didn't have any D cells. They were out of stock there. So you know, have lots of rechargeable AA's. I would have enjoyed using those instead. So, but that's a minor annoyance, you know. It's just that AA batteries are everywhere and easier to find generally than C or D batteries. Performance-wise, well, first of all, the frequency range of this radio. Frequency range on medium wave or AM, the AM band, is from 520 to 1710. So it's the full tuning, including the expanded band. So you can go up to 1710. And every time you go over the band and fall back to the bottom, you hear that beep. The FM portion of the band goes from 88 at the bottom, so even a little lower, 87 at the bottom, and goes right up to 108. So which is the standard FM band. And the shortwave band, that's a big improvement over the S350 also. The shortwave band is continuous from 1711 right above the medium wave band up to 30 megahertz or 29999. So you got a full spectrum of shortwave. You don't miss any frequencies when tuning around with this radio, and that is one of the things I enjoy about this radio also. The fact that the full band is there. You don't have to worry, can I tune around some frequency somewhere? If you tune, you're tuning everywhere on the shortwave band. The only big drawback, as you can see, is that if you don't have presets, you do have to tune and tune and tune and tune and tune a lot to really get through the frequencies you want. And that's the big drawback. So you've got full coverage of shortwave. That's really nice. Performance-wise, this is a superb radio. I've listened to FM stations. A great example is when I tune my local VPR, which is more than 100 kilometers away. And look, the antenna is just one little section open. It's not fully open. And I still...
as well, and it starts out with her saying, why don't we ever go...
Comes in like a local station. The FM portion of this radio is really fantastic, except for one little detail. If I fully open the antenna, I live in a big city where there's lots of powerful FM stations. Unfortunately, if you live in a big city, the problem with this radio is the fact that you will have lots of interference from stations all over the band. So that's probably the drawback, I would say, of the FM portion. It easily overloads, and I cannot see anyone in a big city actually using an external antenna on this radio for FM listening. It's just gonna overload terribly. So it's good. It's better than a lot of the radios that I've used, but it easily overloads. That's the drawback of the FM. Medium wave. I listened to medium wave last night, just before going to bed. And I can say one thing, is that this radio rocks. And an example here. This is Ottawa station. Coming really well just with the ferrite rod inside. It's already an indication that I actually have lots of, it's very sensitive in medium wave. So I would say that for medium wave listening, this is a really good radio. It performs extremely well. if you've got a good loop antenna, I think this radio can become a great DX machine for medium wave. One of the drawbacks of the medium wave listening, I noticed that the radio has a high noise level, just the radio itself. If you just tune somewhere where there's no signals, you notice that this radio probably generates a little more noise, internal noise, than the average radio. Probably the electronic circuitry inside, but still it won't hamper most stations from coming in. I've actually found that it's really amazing on medium wave, and even with the higher noise level from the radio itself, it's still pretty good. Shortwave is incredible. I mean, just with the telescopic antenna last night, I've listened to almost all the broadcasts that I listened to with my ICOM ICR 8500 that has 60 or 70 foot wire outdoors. This one with just the telescopic, I listened to the Voice of Russia, I listened to the BBC from Cyprus, which I listen all the time at 0400. I did listen to Radio Romania, I listened to Radio China International, China Radio International from Cuba, a relay on 9580, I believe, or S70. Listen to Radio Nacional Amazonas in Brazil on 11780 with actually no problem at all. Real cool, crisp reception. This radio rocks on shortwave, and if you have one, but only one radio you want to buy, and your budget is really limited to not much more than $100, I would suggest that you buy this one. This is a cool radio. Performance is incredible. I'm amazed at this radio, I must say. Will it change? Who knows? If it does, or if after a while I find some other Quarks, of course I'll do another video talking about it. But it's absolutely fantastic. The fact that it's available also everywhere in almost any electronic store is probably what makes this easy, because a lot of people are gonna say, well, yeah, but I like my Texon PL660 much better on. Yeah, but the problem is Texon radios aren't available at every corner store. They're available at only a few outlets and eBay. Lots of people don't want to bother with that. Lots of people are scared of buying on the internet. So having a radio that's available at your corner electronics store is what makes a good radio become a great radio. It's available everywhere, and this is a good radio. It's so much better than the S450. The other thing is that because it is digitally tuned, this radio does not drift at all. You put it on a frequency, and in 2 hours it's gonna be on the frequency. That's a great improvement over the S450 that you always have to retune every 20 or 30 minutes because it just drifts away. So I have the S450 DL. I now have this S450 DLX. This is much better, and probably going to become one of my favorite radios to use all around when I want to listen to shortwave or even other broadcasts. With the power adapter, what's cool, this can also become your kitchen tabletop radio or your bedroom radio if you want to use it also with the alarm. And it's pretty cool, and you can at night it's easy to find the buttons. If you press the snooze button at night, you're actually gonna have light up the display. So if you're looking at what time is it, it's a cool radio because it's easy to find the buttons on the top. It's really easy to actually access these buttons for clock viewing in the middle of the night. So I think Grundig did a really cool job with this. It's one of the best radios I've used for the price, and if anyone's looking for a good portable shortwave radio, I think this is the radio to get. It's easy to find, it's available almost everywhere, like I said, so it rocks. if you have any comments, questions on this radio, let me know. I'll be happy to answer any questions. Just before I go, just a little talk about the instruction manual. Very basic. I mean, it's, you know, about 12 to 15 pages of instructions. But this radio is pretty easy to understand, so even if you don't have too much knowledge, just playing with the buttons, you'll understand a little more. And I think it's easy to tune radio even if you're a newbie, and it's gonna get out those signals. So hope you enjoyed this review. If you have any comments, questions, let us know. If you like our channel, hey, click the subscribe button, and if you have one, if you buy one, give us your comments of what you think of this radio. So this is the Grundig S450 DLX field radio, approximately $100, available the source by Circuit City in Canada, Radio Shack in the US, other outlets like Universal Radio, Radio World also here in Canada, and I've seen it even on just a few you know, standard electronic store outlets that sell those high-def TVs and all. So it's available at a lot of spots. They're really pushing this radio to a lot of people. Keep in mind it's a little big, it's a little heavy, especially if you put D batteries inside. But for the rest, great performer. So thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this review of the Grundig S450 DLX field radio. One last little item that I didn't say. This radio does not have single sideband. If it had single sideband, it probably would become a really cool radio, even more than I imagine. So no sideband, remember that. It's just for AM, FM listening. So thanks for watching. Bye bye.